My wife didn't get angry because I talked to my friends. She got angry because I stopped, pretending everything was fine. For a long time, he cared quiet to keep the peace. I carried the fear, the guilt, and the damage by myself. I told myself that love meant staying, that if I just tried harder, waited longer, or stopped talking about the pain, things would get better. They didn't. This is going to be a long post, so bear with me. TLDDR at bottom. My wife, let's call her Amy, and I have been together for 4 years, living together for 2, and married for 1. I can go on and on about the beauty our relationship has had. There's a reason I moved practically across the UDS for her, much to the shock of my 2 best friends. Let's call them Jeff and Adam, both 30 men. So it's safe to say that we have our good moments, and there's a lot of things that connect us, and I really could see a future with her. There was a lot of growing into each other over time, and a lot we endured to get to the point where it felt good to move in together. I get along with her family very well, her friends very well. It felt like we meshed seamlessly. Then it hit a huge wall. A rough year hit us when Amy's mom got really ill to the point we weren't sure if she was going to make it or not. She ended up recovering, thankfully. The whole family rallied around her. All of this on top of Amy's stressful work. Finance worker led her to tell me one night after she uncharacteristically got really mad at me that she was severely depressed, to the point I was worried about her well-being. This led to a fallout between us where she refused to get help, started to even deny that she was depressed in the first place, refused to talk about it, and get angry at me for bringing any of it up or keep suggesting therapy, and just turn cold to me. After a while, it got so emotionally manipulative. She mentioned that if I were to leave, she would grab the sharpest thing she can find when I wasn't there. It got bad to the point where I made sure the proper support was around her at that time, made sure 2 trusted family members knew the situation, and then just left. Now, I know what you're thinking. Why are you back in this position then? And why doesn't the story just end there with divorce? Because I let her reel me back in. And I thought that maybe if we actually did the therapy like we were supposed to, we can fix things. Which she so brazenly threw in my face that I was the one that gave up. I was the one who left that night, even though she never wanted to even try therapy until that point. And I'll admit, in that moment I felt so guilty. It overwhelmed me as if I was a failure for not doing enough. So I came back. Here we are. Therapy is not working because lo and behold, she still doesn't show up. She only showed up for the very first appointment and nothing after, and doesn't do any of the stuff the therapist recommends at home. I can't really talk to anyone else because in her mind, the most important thing that makes her happy is me being here and us doing, like watching TV and playing with the dogs and hanging out with people who still have no clue what's actually going on. Adam and Jeff care a lot about me, and we have all been good friends for almost 10 years at this point. And they were the first to know when I first left what really happened. And they are asking me if things are now getting any better. And I told them the truth that no, they're not. On the surface it seems fine, but underneath no work is being done in actuality, because she likes to pretend it never happened. She always asked when she knows I talked to Adam or Jeff what we talked about and if we talked about how our relationship is doing, because she doesn't like me talking about it, and sometimes I skate around it. But this time I said we did, and I told them the truth. She got upset and went into her feelings like she'll never be good enough and that I overvalue therapy as a basis for how our relationship is doing. She doesn't like to acknowledge how up I am mentally still over everything, and even more how up she still is. Any advice on what to do other than just pack my bags at this point for good? TLDDR wife Amy got extremely upset that I told my 2 best friends, Adam and Jeff, the truth about how toxic and manipulative our relationship has gotten and become, and how in denial she is about what has happened, saying I am overanalyzing things and overvaluing therapy, which she promises to try but doesn't show up to at this point. Edit. For those asking wingering. Yes, she did get on medication, after I had originally left because the 2 trusted family members convinced her she had a problem, but she still denies things ever getting as bad as they did and doesn't like thinking about it anymore, as if to just want to bury it in the past, and is mad at me for not being willing to do that, even though it's still so fresh in my mind. Update. After that post, I took some time to try and really process everything I was feeling. Her sister hosted a Christmas party which we attended, and it was a good change of pace. Amy enjoyed it, so that was nice, and I do enjoy being with her family, so it was good to see them. Fast forward a few days after Amy and I were going grocery shopping, and on the way back I was thinking of our next therapy session that I had scheduled. I talked to Adam and Jeff, my 2 best friends from the previous post. about how I was going to use this session to really see how much hope there is to have for our future, and really lay my emotions completely on the table about the hurt and damage I feel. That's been hard to talk to her about because our communication degraded. Thinking about the session got me really stressed, and knowing it was coming soon had affected my mood. And Amy could tell I was feeling low, so she asked me what was up. I told her I would rather talk about it later, but she said she wanted to talk about it now. I told her that I was feeling stressed and overwhelmed with the upcoming therapy session, and thinking about it brings back a lot of bad memories. And it's just been a hard day for me so far because of that. It was at this point she told me she didn't think this was going to work, and that she wanted a divorce. At that point, a mixture of numbness and heartache really hit because on one hand, I feel like I was questioning on whether staying was best or not, and another, it was still a painful ripping out of my heart, because I still love her a lot. It was a pretty silent car ride after that, and I thought, well, the next move is now clear. As we got home, I pretty much said a goodbye to our dogs and said, I'll start looking into the process and I want to make the divorce as painless as possible. Then she said that she wanted to go to the therapy session. This confused the out of me because she just told me we were done, and that she wanted a divorce, and it felt like she was playing with my heart at that point. I was resistant to it, and she asked me why I wasn't willing to give it another chance. And I told her, you just broke up with me. Our therapist is a nice lady and said, regardless of what happens, come to the session to hash things out. It was pretty illuminating for her, but at the same time, it felt raw and inchun up for me to even be there. She's telling me now that she's ready to do whatever it takes to be better. But I think I can't trust anything she says anymore, so I'll be staying with Adam for the meantime, as I told him what happened, and he offered for me to crash at his place for a bit while I figure things out.